What about altcoins? Tell me about altcoins, right? So this is a chart I think I might have covered a couple of weeks back. This is the US dollar index, or DXY. We're looking at it on the weekly here, and you might be wondering, why is the US dollar index so important? And that's that in all, I guess, well, not all, but in the most recent previous cycles back in 2021 and also in 2017, you can see that there was a massive drop in the DXY, and then towards the end, kind of like when we would get that second leg lower, like back here, you can see that there was a drop in early 2017, and then when there was that kind of like second leg lower that was starting, then that's when you really saw altcoins take off for the DXY. And again, like when you see that second leg lower, this is what I'm talking about. When you see that second leg lower, that's when altcoins really take off. And as you can see, it looks like the DXY is about to have that second leg lower, and I do think it's going to fall down to, I don't know, around 95, 96. I'm not a like Forex trader, so like don't be like trading Forex or anything based on this analysis. But again, based on my analysis here, I do think that we're about to see a second leg lower, and as soon as that second leg lower starts, then you tend to see altcoins massively outperform. And again, this happens over the course of a few weeks, and I do think that this is foreshadowing, again, in the second half of this month, maybe into July, maybe we see a little bit of like a recovery here in the DXY before it rolls over. You know, it could always chop around for another couple of weeks before it rolls over, but basically within the next, let's say 2 to 4 weeks, we should see the DXY roll over, and that should correspond to a massive rally in altcoins. Very useful chart to watch, and notably, this is one that is, I would say, the most important of like the macro charts, because if you look at like interest rates and even like stuff like QE or whatever, this does not really correspond that nicely to previous cycles. The Fed was raising interest rates and doing QE in 2017, and altcoins still rallied. But again, the one kind of macro chart that does kind of have a strong correlation to altcoin season is this US dollar index chart. Again, we're here on the weekly. Nice little trend line here that I've been watching, which of course you might be wondering, okay, but then what's the catalyst? What would call the DXY to roll over? And I think, you know, if it's not the CPI, then it could be the Fed's meeting here in June, which of course is on June 18th. So that's in about 10 days time, 9 days time. And what I think is probably going to happen, maybe the Fed, well, I guess first things first is that when you see this little asterisk here, we're looking at the Fed's official calendar. This little asterisk means that they're going to be putting out a summary of economic projections, which basically they're going to be, I guess, foreshadowing what they're going to do in the future. So even if the Fed doesn't cut rates or anything at the June meeting, if they pencil in and say, yeah, we're still planning on doing cuts, and maybe they're even going to stop their QT completely, because now they're just doing a little bit, I think like 5 billion a month. If they say we're stopping QT completely and we're going to still do rate cuts in the future, that'll be kind of dovish enough that it would cause the DXY probably to roll over. Here in this equation is for the Fed to kind of ease a little bit, and of course that would cause weakness in the DXY. The euro should not weaken anymore here versus the US dollar, which means that the euro is going to be strong, which means that the US dollar should go down. And if the Fed just says, yeah, we're going to be a little bit more dovish here, just even slightly, that'll be enough to bring the DXY down here, I think, to this 95, 94 level.